And for more on this, let's bring in Joel Rubin. He's a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of State under President Obama and president of the Washington Strategy Group. So, Joel, do you think the administration is responding correctly or they are not tough enough?
Well, Eric, it's great to be with you, and they're not being tough enough. As Senator Graham just said as well this morning, the leader of Saudi Arabia, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, is a reckless leader. He is taking Saudi Arabia in very aggressive directions in the Middle East, related to Qatar, related to Yemen, even with Lebanon and kidnapping their prime minister. And the danger here is that we're going to be led by the nose by Saudi Arabia into more reckless behavior. And we need to put some boundaries on this relationship. The Congress is clearly concerned. Bipartisan senators from both sides of the aisle, obviously, but both chambers as well, are expressing deep concern about all of these issues. And President Trump does need to step up more forcefully.
You talk about putting boundaries on the relationship. What type of boundaries? I mean, they did impose those sanctions against individuals believed to be involved. What else do you think the administration should do?
Well, the boundaries clearly will be related to physical support for Saudi Arabia's war in Yemen. And this week, there will likely be a vote in the Senate, a bipartisan measure. Senator Mike Lee, Senator Bernie Sanders, putting that forward to try to stop American support for that war. Other boundaries could relate to expanding the Global Magnitsky Act, human rights sanctions against Mohammed bin Salman, and letting them know that this kind of aggressive behavior can't go on, that we have a relationship with Saudi Arabia, but that doesn't mean it's a relationship without any guidance, without any real values behind it. And I think that's why Nikki Haley spoke out this week as well.
Yeah, but it seems that Mohammed bin Salman, obviously thinks he can get away with it. Remember that high five with Vladimir Putin?
Well, birds of a feather flock together. To have Vladimir Putin as your best friend, good luck, and I wish him well. The American military, we are essentially the Saudi military. We supply it, we advise it. If he wants to go to the Russians, Saudi Arabia will be in a lot of hurt.
Well, explain that a bit more, because that is the major reason why the president has not condemned them more forcefully. He says he doesn't want to put billions of dollars in arms sales in danger, that the Saudis would then just go to Russia or China and buy up arms. Do you think that holds water?
It really doesn't. No national security analyst who covers military hardware and sales will support that position. And the United States military for decades now has been the backbone of the Saudi defense structure. We are in there advising on a daily basis. They purchase our hardware for years. You can't just overnight convert to a Russian military apparatus. The two systems don't talk to each other. And as well, the president is making a point about economic benefits of these sales, but he's vastly overstated the amount of dollars that we would actually acquire from Saudi Arabia in sales. And that shouldn't be the point, though. We really need to make sure that this relationship works for us. And right now, it's off kilter.
And finally, does maintaining the relationship, does that take precedence over perhaps moral or ethical clarity?
I don't think that we should view these as two separate questions. We need a relationship with Saudi Arabia, no doubt, but we need one that works for our values and works for our interests in the region. Saudi Arabia is pulling us into this war in Yemen, blockading Qatar, where we have Al Udeid Air Base, 11,000 American servicemen and women sitting there, now blockaded by Saudi Arabia. We need to make sure they understand that those are against American national security interests, and they need to pull back. And the Khashoggi killing is a very perfect example of the dangers of allowing this relationship to get off kilter.
And we will likely see more action, as you say, a condemnation and a cause or resolution from the Senate this week. Joel Rubin, always good to see you, Joel. Thank you.
Thanks, Eric.
Of course. Arthel?
Well, Eric, Paris